Hi, I'm Uncle Mark. Welcome to the channel. Just working on my Ford Flex. This has got the 3.5 with the dual turbos. What is that? EcoBoost. And I've got a P code. So I thought I'd bring you along. Maybe we can help you out, help you save some money. So this, of course, check engine light was on. I was wondering what's going on. It was running fine. Fuel economy was fine. Other than the check engine light on, no reason to think there was anything wrong. So got my code reader out and looked at some stored codes here. And this is what I found. So what is that? Well, this sensor is on the front of the engine. So we're going to change it. This is how you get at it. Take your oil filler cap off first because that's holding this big plastic piece down. It's just an engine cover. Keep it a little quieter. And there are 3 places here that it snaps onto. 2 in the back, 1 in the front. I'll give you a little closer idea as to what we are going to try and work on. So I'm going to put the oil cap back on there so I don't accidentally drop something in there. That wouldn't be good. So this white wire here, by my right hand, that one right there, that goes down to the O2 sensor. This one's going into the catalytic converter. So I'm just going to have to unplug it. Now where my thumb is there, you just squeeze that down and a little tab will unlock. If I can grab this, not much room on these. So squeeze down on that, and as I'm squeezing, I'm going to try and pull it. Should unlock, and a little bit of wiggling, jiggling, and there we go. I'll give you a closer look at it, just so you have an idea how it's hooking on there. So you can see it moving right in there. That's where it latches onto, and when you push it, it just pulls up on that. So I'm going to use one of these sockets. It's a oxygen sensor socket. It's got this slit in the side here so that the wire can fit through when you put the new one on. I guess in theory, the old one, you could just cut the wire off right at the sensor if you can get in there, but there's not much room on these again. So you just slide it over the wire and then onto the actual bolt or nut, I guess. I've got some wires here that are clearly in the way, so this one I'm going to move first. So my fan wires, the part of the fan, the rad fan. Try and tuck it out of the way. Probably be a couple more wires that are just a little hard to get my hand in there. Again, this is the front one. These are probably from underneath. Of course, there's a cover under there, unless your cover is missing. I think there's just 4 bolts. I'll put a link up on the right-hand corner here, top, as to how to take that pan off, belly pan. Now this just turns to the left to loosen it. And again, not much room, and I wish I had a better ratchet. This is probably like the 72 teeth or something like that, and 110 tooth one would probably be better. I think that's how high they go up to. So that it would be a little more range. Like this, you have to move it so far. Oh, there, I think I loosened it. This one, you have to move the handle so far for it to click once, whereas the ones with the higher teeth, you barely move it and you have like 3 or 4 clicks. Much better. So this I'm just going to hand turn, get it out. Like say if a guy would have cut this wire off right at the sensor, if you could get cutters in there, might make it a little easier. And it came out not too bad once it was loosened. A little dirty looking, but pretty hard to tell just by looking at it what the problem is. So I've got a new one. I went with a Denso. I put a little bit of anti-seize. They did have some supplied, but I had some of my own. So I'm going to put some on there, and next time it'll come off nice and easy. Like I said, I will put a product link in the description in case you want to get some. The one I used again was a Denso, and the Bank 1 sensor one and the Bank 2 sensor one are the same. When you go to the sensor 2, those will be a different number. And then use my socket again to snug it up. say, it might be easier from underneath because you'd be closer to it.
There we go.
I don't know for sure that it would be. Then you might think, well, just use a wrench on the top of it instead of the ratchet. Well, it's going to take like a 1-inch wrench, and there's no way you're going to move that at all under there. So I threw that idea out. Then I thought, well, you know, there's so little room in here, maybe I could use an extension. So I used an extension, nice long one here, with a U-joint. That way it could be on an angle. And you would think this was a good idea too, but just again, not enough room with the ratchet I'm using, even though it's a swivel head. Just barely enough room.
It's just too much.
So I tried a few times there, was able to tighten it a little bit, and then I just abandoned this idea. I'm going to go back to the original one of just using the ratchet way down at the bottom.
This won't even...
There's a torque spec for this. I don't know how, again, you would get a torque wrench in there, but the torque spec I used was very snug. Very snug. Actually, I used the store panel tool to help hold the ratchet in place while I was trying to tighten it, because I'm using a flex head and they want it to wobble around. So now that I've got it where I need it there, I don't know how long this would actually take, because I was recording it and trying to get some angles in that. I don't know if it took half an hour. It depends. If you allowed yourself an hour, I can't see why you couldn't do it if you had the tools you needed. And it might be a lot easier to do it, like I say, from the bottom, underneath. I needed to get this part of the connector that was holding this on off of there. This one came with a new one. Snap that in. It looks like it actually was supposed to sit up and down, but I had it sitting left and right this way just because the wires didn't seem long enough. Now this white wire here that's going down to the sensor, it looks like it's going to want to hit your exhaust manifold, so I'm going to try and tie that up after. I plug in my fans, rad fans, cooling fans. It should snap back in. And push it till it clicks. And I'll tie that up after. I don't want to tie it too snug though too, because the engine's going to be moving back and forth. So I'm going to put that piece back on there too. Is that everything tied up? I hope so. Now, tie strap. I'm just going to use a couple tie straps. I'm using 2 of them because they were a little short. The engine's going to rock, and the rad is going to stay, right? As the engine flexes, moves back and forth. So I don't want it super tight because I don't want the wires stretching. So I'm just going to, you know, barely make them snug, but at least hold there so that the wire can't flop around and hit the exhaust manifolds, because I don't want it to melt. If it melts, then it'll stop working. That won't be good. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of space there. And then I'll cut off the excess. I think it'll probably be safe like that. Be lots of room for it to flex back and forth. Now, after hurting myself a couple places there, that was bleeding pretty good for a bit. I was wondering, why is there blood everywhere? I guess if you're not bleeding, you're not working hard enough. No, I'm just teasing. So the back goes down under the cowl, and then the front will just clip in where your oil filter or oil filler cap is. Should snap down everything, and then put the cap back on. And I went inside and started up to see how it's going to work. Now, 2 things might happen. The light might go out right away, but I'm almost thinking you might have to drive it a few times there. You might need 4 or 5 starts, or 6. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to clear the codes right now, since I've got a code reader. And then I should be good. You may want to do that too. That way, if it comes on again, there's something else going on. Because it could have been a broken wire. You know, it's saying that it's one of the sensors, but the wire to the sensor could be broken. And all the computer knows is, hey, I can't talk to that sensor. So we should be good. And there we go. Look at that. It's out. Is that easy? got a couple words to say here at the end, and I'm done. So I did it. I think you can do it too. You just need that special socket. I'll put a link in the description down below for that and a few other things. Maybe you have that sensor too if I can get it through Amazon. I'm not really sure. Anyway, allow yourself, well, if you allowed yourself an hour, I can't see why it couldn't be done. And again, it might be easier from the bottom. I'll also put a link up here, the blue circle there. See the flashing yellow arrow that points all the way to the top to a repair playlist for the Ford Flex. I gotta go. You need to too. Thanks for joining me. Other videos, as we mentioned up there. You and your family stay safe. Bye-bye from Uncle Mark.
No, sit here. Sit here. No, right here. Sit. Wait, sit. Come here. Sit. Shake a paw. Good girl. Here. Where are you going? I got more. We're not done. Right. That's because we're going the wrong way.